after practice there where Hurts rolls out and you're running up on the tight end? How hard is it?
Oh, man. I told him, I said, man, I could have, it's all about protecting these guys, though. It's a joint practice, so I don't want to hurt anybody. But, in the game, it's one of the plays you think about. Yeah, it's the one you wait for. So.
How do you feel about the work you guys got in against that offense this last couple of days?
Oh, no, I feel great. I think that this practice shows, carrying over from Carolina, how we trying to build this foundation and really take care of our business and see what kind of defense, we could be on the defensive side and really team in general. So I think this should really boost confidence for a lot of guys, going against the former Super Bowl champs. No, you're good. My bad.
What have you learned about your defense in these 2 days?
I learned we play fast. I learned we play the best when we play fast. And I think that's Schwartz's mentality, getting to that ball, getting to the Brown thing. So it's great when we get to go up another team. You got that built up, energy and stuff. You can kind of let it out a little bit and really be more physical. And I think that's when we see our defense at best.
The impact back there in the secondary, this defensive line might be better than it was even 2 years ago.
I think we've always had a good defensive line, so I don't know about any years the best, especially we got 95 on the outside, so I think we got the best defensive line in the game.
You talked about building off of Carolina. What was it? Was there anything specifically that when you came out of that practice that this was the areas that you felt like you guys really needed to hone in on?
Of course we got little details and technique stuff, but at the end of the day, we know that, this is a different opponent, but, we want to attack it all the same. But just having that mentality of not being content with a good joint practice and a good win in preseason, carrying that over. Because, we're still in camp. We're not perfect, but, we're getting work done, as you see.
I know the last couple of days, Denzel and Devontae Smith were matched up a lot.
Yeah.
What's it like to see him? Does that kind of bring out the best in him, those kind of matchups?
Yeah, Denzel really doesn't get enough notoriety. When we bring up top 5 corners or top 3 corners in the league, Denzel is top 2, So if you just cut the tape on, you can see this day in and day out. And I know that for a fact because not a lot of people could play like Ward, if whatever his technique is at the line, I'm probably not going to be able to do that because he just mirror people and run with them and react. So it's he's very unique in his technique. That's why it's hard for receivers, when they go up against him. So, we got a good one outside.
What do you think he's so underrated, doesn't get the notoriety that he should deserve?
Hey, I don't know. I think it's all of us, really. I think it's all of us. Maybe I need to write some more articles and stuff.
When you guys looked at the defensive film of yesterday, I guess everyone thought you did well yesterday. How did today measure up in your mind a lot? Were you as good as yesterday against this team?
Good, better.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I got to watch the tape, but
yeah.
I don't see much drop off. Yeah, I don't see much drop off.
What about why that initial reaction? I guess what did you see today?
I was out there practicing,
yeah.
So I saw what we did. It looked pretty complete, little slip ups here and there, but it was a good performance overall.
So is it a huge confidence booster to know that you can have performances like this against the Super Bowl champs? I know you addressed that a little bit, but I didn't.
Yeah, like I said, guys tired, whatever, it's preseason, but at the end of the day, we all tired. It's training camp. So, when we dig deep and do what we got to do and on dog days like these, that's going to give us something to go back on when we down the season. Remember the training camp when we in the dog days and we really, was on our stuff. So we shouldn't have any excuse during the season.
Do you think it'd be a good idea to get playing time in the 3rd preseason game?
Yeah, I think that's Kevin's choice. I think that's his decision. I think that's the plan.
I saw you run over after Harold had that touchdown.
Yeah. Come on now.
Just, you've gone up against him, in practice and everything. What have you seen out of the youngster? Just in the way he's come about.
I think he's really explosive. I don't know how many yards and stuff he had. I think he some broken records. I don't know, but he's doing this thing out there, and I just kind of keep working. Every time I see him, I really see it. Pay dividends. Of course, we love our tight ends on this offense, so I think expect big things from Harold.
As a defender, what kind of problems does that cause if you have 2 tight ends like David and Harold that can go get the ball?
For me?
Yeah, if
no
you
problems.
have to defend them, okay, well, somebody else. Somebody who's not you.
Yeah. I think it has to do with, what personnel you put out for defense. You might have to match them with 3 safeties, instead of being in base, stuff like that. So, and then we could also be able to run the ball because they both block really well. So, I think that's more of a Kevin. I think them boys figured it out when they drafted him. So.
Right, it looks like it's shaping up to maybe be Joe Flacco's week 1 start. Just so many other guys are injured and stuff like that. So knowing what you guys did out here defensively in these 2 days, and then thinking about Joe kind of taking over the offense, what kind of vibe does that give you heading into the season?
Hey, I'm about winning. So really, whoever they put out there, whoever's about winning, I'm with them. So I don't know who it's gonna be, but if they about winning, I'm about them.
What does it do? Go ahead, Tony.
This is the second time you practiced against the Eagles. Rich Schwartz is your coordinator.
Yeah.
Does he get pumped up?
Yeah. I mean, of course, when you're going against a former team and stuff like that, yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
that lead too.
Yeah. The short answer.
What does it do? They leave Jalen Hurts in for so many of their snaps and their first team guys, and you guys are rotating constantly over there.
that.
What does that do for the younger DBs and everything to get reps going against those receivers and Jalen?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good when our guys, get to go up against, the ones and stuff like that. But, I think that either way it goes, you just got to attack the same mentality. But it's good reps for them. Appreciate it.
guess it's sort of the obvious question, but 2 days running against that defensive line, what was sort of your initial takeaways, and where did you feel like you guys improved in that aspect from day one to day two?
Yeah, I think you're talking about just competing. Obviously, a good physical team. We have an opportunity to practice against. I think practicing in this heat just alone, 2 days back to back, getting a lot of team reps, good on good. You can't take, advantage, more advantage of that, than we did. So I think we did some good things. I think we see the areas, of improvement. But I think we all took a step forward.
How important are these 2 days for the run game, considering it's a different front than you faced all summer, all that? Just how important is it to kind of find out who you guys are in the run game?
Yeah, it's always it's always good to go against another team, Obviously, our practices are very competitive, and our D-line gets after it. But it's like another heightened urgency when you go against another front. It's another look, another feel. More time we get to just get on the same page. So, like I said, you can't take more advantage, of those.
Some physical plays in the run game. What was your takeaways from the Eagles' run defense?
Yeah, I won't speak too much on their scheme, but just good work all along. I think you just saw effort from both sides, and that's what you want. You want them playing with great effort, so we could, play with great effort, and everybody playing fast and physical.
Can you walk us through that play that you scored on?
And that's just team, collaborating. We work on that a few times at practice, but just a timing, in sync play. Just try to catch them off guard a little bit.
How much did you catch them off guard, though? It looked like they were shell-shocked.
It worked a little bit better than it did on our defense.
Dylan, you've gotten so many quality reps this training camp, and just the number of reps. How much do you think you've grown in your first training camp?
Yeah, I think just every day you just try to get better, and every little thing. There's an area of focus, whether it's pass pro, whether it's taking the small chunks, not always looking for the big plays, just doing my job, and I think I'm getting, more comfortable in and out the huddle, playing at different positions. My teammates are helping me so much, but those are reps that, are so valuable, and I don't take them lightly.
What did you learn from that play last week where Miles kind of shot there into the backfield and kind of tossed you down a little bit, and it kind of made a lot of, went a little viral on the internet? What did you
Yeah, man, y'all ain't had to post that on there, man. That's Myles Garrett. Look at him. I'm pretty sure he could do that to a lot of people. But, shoot, I think he was just a little mad. We was really on them that day, so he didn't want to let him score. But, it's great work. Obviously, it's the reality of the league. I went up to him. I was like, bro, you ain't had to do that. He's like, I didn't know it was you, man. But, it's all love, and just get back up and you play ball again. That's all you can do.
Dylan, Deuces always talk a lot about pass pro, and getting to go against these guys specifically. What, how much did you? What was that like, and how much do you think you've improved in that aspect of your game just in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of steps to take, but just going up there, being physical, being patient. First of all, knowing my keys and my reads. Getting that studying with the O-line, that's starting to become, more comfortable with me. Just seeing all the different fronts, and that's why I'm glad we got to go out here against this defense, especially on the second day. It kind of feel like the fourth quarter, kind of when you're in that huddle and you break the huddle and you got to find a way to get things done, and that's how it felt today. But, that's how it's going to feel in the game. So, like I said, getting those reps is really good, and I feel like I'm pushing the needle.
Cool.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate it.
Might be retired from that.
So, Joel, it looked like Landon and Lane had some nice strengths for you guys out in the practice field. Was that the perfect end to two 90-plus degree days?
It looked like a Gatorade can to me, but no, it was a nice gesture. The O-linemen suffer together sometimes, so it's always a bond. Even on other teams, we respect each other's games and stuff. So it was a nice gesture.
Joel, what's it like going up against Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis?
Yeah, great players. Their whole interior, 97 is a good player too, young player ascending. But all three of those guys are great players. They play hard. I think Jalen Carter obviously was one of the best D tackles in the game last year, and Jordan Davis has slimmed down and is playing hard. So it's a good challenge, but it's great to do it in practice where, you can try something. If it doesn't quite work right here, not to try that in the game.
How about Moro Jomo, who Landon said has kind of an awkward build in the best way possible, long arms and all that?
Yeah, it's what I was 97 referring to. I couldn't pronounce his name, so I didn't want to butcher it, but I appreciate that. No, I got to go against him a bunch. He's, like you said, he's like, for his size, like really long arms. He's pretty powerful. I think his key is how hard he plays and how good he knows the game. He's on the backside of a play. Like, he's not going to stop. Runs games well. And he has more power than you think. You know, he's probably like 290 or 295, but he'll bring a bull rush as well.
Joe, what's the state of the run game right now?
Hard to tell in a practice where you're not tackling. I think the couple times we've been live in our camp and stuff like that, they've had some good things. We know the Eagles' defense is, you know, a great run-stopping defense. They've done some really good things, obviously Super Bowl champs. But there were some good moments. Like, we had some good pops, and usually, you know, it's run game. There's one play that, you know, misses a block or something, and it looks bad. But for the most part, I think it's coming along, and I think we're getting to a good point.
Is this a good couple of days to test that out, though, just because it is a different front, a different defense than what you guys use?
Yeah, I mean, they're a 3-4 base defense, run a lot of penny fronts and stuff like that. So our defense is very 4-down or 6-1. And for us to get a chance to go against someone else and some great players is a good time to test things out.
What was sort of the big takeaway when you guys went back and looked at yesterday, kind of broke it? What did you feel like you needed to improve on? What was the biggest kind of things?
I think for us, we had too many MAs. You know, I think we had 70-some plays, and there was a lot of MAs, and we were like, hey, if we're not going to even give ourselves a, you know, assignment correctly, we're not going to have a chance here. So just playing a new defense, seeing a few looks that we hadn't seen on film yet, and just understanding, like, hey, we can communicate up there and find a way to, you know, pick it up correctly.
So did you knock back that Gatorade on Landon?
Yeah, no comment on that. Yeah, I thought it was a Gatorade, so that's what I drank out there.
Joel, I know you didn't watch your guys' defense,
Yeah.
but you've gone against them. They've had two, it looks like, pretty strong days creating pressure. I mean, what's it been like going against them, and do you feel good about that you guys have held up against a pretty good front all of training camp?
Yeah, I mean, our defensive line, we know is going to be the strength of our defense, and, you know, one of the strengths of our team. Anytime it, you know, starts with Miles, it's a good thing, and then Malik and Graham and all these guys, all the DNs, like, fighting for that spot. They're really pushing each other, I think, to be the best. And so it's a tough group. And the way they play is just a little bit different than most teams. They penetrate. You know, this team will two-gap sometimes. They'll penetrate sometimes. So it's a good challenge for anybody. But, yeah, we've been going against them. We know. The guys that have to block Miles in practice, we tell, like, show us the effort because he beats a lot of guys. You know what I mean? I think you saw it today, two of the better tackles in the game. And he will compete with those guys every play. So it's always a good challenge for us.
Joel, at this stage of your career, you know, you're sometimes out there, sometimes not, sort of navigating that just to kind of get ready for the season. How much do you feel like you guys have mastered, both you and the team, how you get your body right so that you're sort of set for the season starts, but you're not doing too much?
Yeah, we're at a good spot. You know, with these preseason games, you get a kind of like a little buffer. So I went pretty much all the plays the last couple of days to really get that humid grind. You know, at the end of practice today, you're like, oh man, I'm, you know, catching my breath out here. But it's a good mix. I know in season we'll find a way. I don't mind practicing. I enjoy practicing. It's just we got 17 games too, so it is a mix that we have to try and, you know, figure out.
Joel, how big of a difference does it make? I mean, last year left tackles were injured. They weren't out there in the spring and summer. How much of a difference does it make that you've been able to have DeWand out there kind of all spring, all summer, and really kind of get things together over there?
Yeah, you hope, you know, all season long you'll have the same guy next to you because that's who you've been working with. And he's trying every day to be the best version of himself. And there's tough days and there's good days, especially with Miles, you know, that he's out there battling. So it's good though, you know, because you want to work the double teams, you want to work the communication. I thought today, like in our 2-minute period, we had a couple twist pass-offs that were really solid. So it's just taking those steps and continuing to improve those.
What have you seen out of Mason? How have you seen Mason get better? I mean, now that you guys have started to really go live.
Yeah, he's explosive. I think his football IQ is like tremendous. You know what I mean? Like, he knows football and knows how to make plays. I think it took him a couple weeks because he's a two-gap shed guy in college, and now he's penetrating and you know, our defense, like say FSU, and so he's learning that. But from what I've seen and what I've gone against, I got against Malik most of the time because he mostly plays over me. Yeah. But I've seen some big improvements. I think his pass rush has improved, and his ability to kind of wiggle out of blocks is pretty impressive as well.
Joel, what about DeWand and just playing next to him as much as you have? Where has he grown in that left tackle spot?
Yeah, he's getting more comfortable. I think naturally he feels like he's the right tackle, but it's like, hey, with your position, we want you to try left, and he's developing there. But it's really the growth of really competitiveness and fighting through tough plays. Like, everybody knows they're gonna have tough plays, but he's trying to grow as a player in that sense, where it's like, hey, I had a bad play, we got to play the next play. It's a 60-70 play game, but he's doing a good job in that, and I think this was a good test where it was hot, it was tough out here, new guys, and he was really fighting through it.
Joel, with all the quarterback injuries, it looks like it might be shaping up to be Joel for the dress rehearsal and for the week 1 start. Based on what you saw out here in these practices, how do you feel about how the offense is shaping up potentially with Joe as your QB?
Yeah, we have faith in the room and the coach's decisions, but we've been around Joe, and he's done a great job for us. Let us to the playoffs a couple years ago, so we have all the faith in him. Obviously, we hope all our quarterbacks aren't banged up, kind of how it is right now. But I think he's shown that he can lead this team, and his poise and his confidence in the huddle is what you'd expect from an 18-year vet. So we have all the confidence in the world, whoever they put out there. But Joe's obviously been the healthiest guy, and kind of our option right now.
You've seen a lot of quarterbacks in a lot of quarterback situations. Have you seen anyone quite like this one in training camp, where you come in with 4 and all these, and suddenly there is still a scarcity?
Yeah, no, I have not. I was wondering what the record is for most quarterbacks on the roster at one point, with Deshaun and Snoop, getting up to 6. So I was curious about that. But no, usually, they don't really get hit or anything. So usually the quarterbacks are the healthiest in camp. They're tough day out there, and it's like, was it? But no, it's definitely an interesting thing. But I think Coach Stefanski and the staff have really done a good job of navigating it, trying to get guys reps, and when they're healthy, get them out there. Sweet. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
I know, I have a sheen.
Oh yeah,
It's like I have a body glitter
Body
on.
oil, yeah.
Body oil? No.
no.
How you doing, Kenny? How you been?
Good.
Kenny, you've obviously gone against Quinyon and Cooper plenty last season. Where have you seen them over these last 2 days make the biggest advancement in their game?
Yeah, I was talking to Q a little bit in between some of the periods. Just his understanding of the defense now, being a year in, having a full year of experience, and then kind of understanding what offenses are trying to do, attacking the defense that they play. So I think he's done a great job. He obviously was phenomenal last year for them. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does this year.
How are you coming along with the hamstring, and where are you at, and what's the outlook?
Yeah, I feel like I'm turning the corner a little bit this week, which is really positive. Was able to run, a little bit more yesterday, so I'm getting there, just taking a day at a time. Obviously it's extremely frustrating. I'm only be able to get like 7-on-7 lately and some one-on-ones, but just focus on trying to take advantage of those as much as I can.
Do you feel like next week you should be able to, knock on wood, be able to get out there?
I can't say that yet. It'll be close.
Have they told you, hey, anything can still happen and keep your head in this competition because it's not over yet? Is that the narrative?
It was never even mentioned. I think, we're all just going a day at a time, going through camp. They'll make that decision whenever they want to make that decision, but I'm just trying to put my best foot forward on the reps that I do get right now.
How did it feel being back here?
It was great. You have a special season like that, you kind of build a bond with people for life. So being able to see, everyone that I played with last year, coaches, trainers, I went in the cafeteria and saw all the people back there, and you got to give some hugs. So it was great. It holds a special place in my heart for that year. Really glad, we were back here for this camp to go see everybody.
We haven't had a chance to talk to you really since the Super Bowl. What did it mean to you to be out there late in that game?
Yeah, it was awesome. The 5-year-old in me would have been going crazy, back in the day. I remember watching Donovan McNabb, all those old days when he was making his runs, and to be able to be a part of that team was awesome. Having my parents there, my family, my wife, it was really cool.
You were obviously a big part of that quarterback room last year, especially with Terry McKee. What have you noticed in his development? Do you still talk to him? Just how's the relationship?
Yeah, we just talked a little bit yesterday and today. I think the system, I don't know if it's changing or a little different. Just kind of talking about, talking through some of those things, talking again about our defense that he was playing out there today. Tanner's an awesome guy, man. I know he's going to do a great job for them. He's prepared for it. He's a true pro, goes about his business the right way, so really happy for him.
Kenny, how bizarre is it, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but after you get injured, then Dylan gets injured, now Shador is injured, and just this whole four-way quarterback competition took these unexpected twists.
Yeah, it's a wild game. It's football. Everyone. I got my own problems to worry about. I'm just focused on my recovery. You never want to see anyone go down. We all want to be out there competing, so it's a tough deal. But I know each guy's trying to get back out there and be 100%.
How has, Kenny, I don't know if frustration is the right word, but I know I think you've mentioned it a couple of times. So just managing that part of dealing with the soccer.
Yeah, I try to give myself 24 hours to be as angry as I could be, and then just turn the page. Every day, doing as much as I can. It truly is a 24/7 grind to try to get back 100%. So I'm doing absolutely everything I can. Hopefully, I can push it to get out there. I want to be smart, but at the same time, I want to be out there competing. So you're kind of like walking that fine line.
I know I think you talked about this back in the offseason, but just the experiences you had last year in Philly, what ways have you brought that to this team, this locker room, this quarterback?
Yeah, I think I talked to Tommy a lot about what we did last year, and I think he does a great job of looking at what other teams do, what other systems and concepts have been really successful for other teams. And he asked me a lot. He'll be like, "What were your favorite 5 from Philly? Favorite 5 from Pittsburgh?" I'm sure he's done the same with Joe. He's just always looking to make the system better and put our guys in the best places to succeed. So, I think we go back and forth on a lot of the things that we did. We pull up tape. We kind of go through it that way. So we have a quarterback room with a lot of knowledge and experience. With Joe and Deshaun's played a lot of football too. So, I try to add as much as I can. So I think that's probably the main way.
What were you really excited about in terms of your progress in those first 4 practices? It seemed like you were really coming along there.
Yeah, I felt, I think I touched on it before, the 5 weeks at home I really just dedicated to studying the playbook and going through it on the field, training hard, being in the best shape that I felt like I have been in my life for the competition. So I came back ready to go. Obviously the injury is unfortunate, but I feel like I'm keeping that same thing in the 7-on-7 reps that I get. Just trying to be as accurate as I can be, make the right read, and move on to the next play. So that's really my mindset right now.
Kenny, I'm sorry if they asked you this. I just walked in. But you know this Eagles defense better than anybody on the team. From your vantage point, watching your offense these 2 days, how do you think they did overall?
I thought they did a great job. I thought, there's positives, there's negatives. There's always going to be that. We definitely want to clean up the pre-snap stuff. Something the coaches are harping on, that we need to get cleaned up as an offense. But I thought it was a good battle for both days. I think there was highs on both sides. There were some lows on both sides. But the competitiveness, the want-to was there. I really liked the way we competed. Guys were going at it, so it was a positive.
Especially in a setting like this, how are
Heavily. Yeah, as heavily as I can be, because I'm not getting those reps. I kind of stand in the back and go through the checks, go through the cadence, trying to steal as much as I can. And then when those guys come off, I try to help them out too. Tell them what I saw, ask them what they saw, and kind of talk through the play. Then you have the meetings again to go over that and kind of have that open dialogue. So it's been, it's been good from that standpoint.
I know you have your own issues to deal with, but did Shador, seek you out a little bit just for any kind of consolation, or did you have any words of advice from him for the oblique thing that happened yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the training room together and we just talk about it. I mean, he's awesome. He's got a great attitude about it. He'll be back out there, as soon as he can be, just like I can. So I really like his attitude and how he's going about his business.
Kenny, Harold Fan had a big day today, especially he had a drop early, kind of came back from it. How have you seen him progress, and just having two big targets like him and Njoku, how does that help?
Yeah, I think we have an unbelievable tight end room, obviously, with Dave. Everyone knows what he can do. But Harold's really stepped up. I'm really impressed with the intensity that he's such a quiet guy. And then he goes in there and really competes hard, and he'll take on a Mike Backer and run plays, and a DM one-on-one. He'll take him on with no problem, and then go out there and run great routes. So I'm really impressed with Harold and what I think he can bring to this team, if he stays on the track that he's on right now.
Very good.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.